Kevin Feige proudly proclaimed back in the late stages of Phase 3 Marvel that a full-on reboot, if there was ever a point in time that the MCU would have to go through a rebooting, he would consider that a complete and total failure. But a retooling, that's a little bit different. Well, as we all know, that it's really a distinction without a difference. But hey, man, they're bringing in new characters. They're bringing in the heavy hitters. They got the Fantastic Four. Okay, they got the Deadpool. They're gonna have the X-Men. Everything's gonna be great, guys. Don't worry about it. Disney is gonna be great. We're gonna win back the audience. We guarantee it by jangling so many keys in front of their faces and tickling your nostalgia bones the harder than we already have, that it's kind of brought us to the situation that we're in. Don't think about it too much. Now Marvel is quietly retooling amid superhero fatigue. Yeah, superhero fatigue. Just go ahead and keep on riding that. No, it's just superhero movies that people are fed up with. No, it's still going to be bad writing, incompetent directing, meddling producers. But when the general public have a perception about a brand, a company, a genre, you're going to have to win them back, not with one, not with two, but probably 3, maybe 4 if the damage has been completely and totally drilled in. 4 good movies before you start to get that goodwill back. But just like I'd say with James Gunn's DCU, instead of focusing on this 8-year-long plan with a bunch of different movies, a whole host of streaming shows, focus on making one good movie. Okay, every journey begins with the first step. Not to get all cliche on you, but just over a year ago, yes, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was set to take Marvel Studios to the next level. Yeah, it was supposed to be the beginning, the arbitrary beginning of Phase 5. A new villain was going to be introduced. Yeah, just don't remember the fact that he was originally introduced in Loki a few years before, and the movie itself was a giant sizing. All right, it was a giant sizing of a franchise. Sorry, what? It's previously modest in scope. What? How many multiversal perplexities were encountered in Phase 4? But you're trying to say that, yeah, okay, because they went to the quantum realm, that we're getting bogged down in the weeds. Instead, the Peyton Reed directed movie heralded a year's worth of missteps, and I'm pretty sure, well, outside of Guardians of the Galaxy, the anomaly that was, I think Ant-Man and the Wasp was probably the high watermark for Disney throughout the entire year, which is, it lost money, guys, okay? It was all uncharted territory for Marvel, which had steadily been generating box office gold for 15 years. Yes, for Marvel, and it started out at Paramount. They bought it up, and, well, they're the ones who created this. But the Disney division is in the midst of a pretty darn good February. All right, all things considered, despite the general gloom that surrounded the superhero genre as of late, the Super Bowl trailer is for Deadpool and Wolverine is the most viewed on social media trailer of all time, right? Yes, Disney's math does include the 123 million people that tuned in for the game. It's like, oh my God. Okay, so Kanye West is the most viewed artist of all time because he had he had a commercial in the middle of the Super Bowl. Like, what are we doing here? Yeah, which included just 30 seconds of the trailer. But yeah, the full trailer was 2 minutes 30. Okay, but yeah, but Super Bowl fudging or not, the clip reached an encouraging number. The studio, whose last movie, The Marvels, the lowest grossing MCU film in, it's 33 run, hitting $206 million globally. Yeah, unless you look at different sites where it still has it under $200 million. But potato. Next came Valentine's Day, unveiling the cast of the Fantastic Four: Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Ebon Moss-Bachrach, and Joseph Quinn, which is a decent casting. Fantastic Four, cornerstone of Marvel's mythos. Yeah, they're known as Marvel's first family, and it's so great right now. You finally bring in the Fantastic Four, the first family of Marvel, in enough time for it to be the last thing that the MCU does. Good stuff, okay? Instead of beginning, Phase 4, with the Fantastic Four, you had the license, everything was ready to go. You decided to kick it off with, a repurposed Black Widow. Yeah, good job. A day later, Marvel launched, the trailer for X-Men 97, which looks fine, but there's some things that you can, pick out of it, and Disney doesn't deserve any of your goodwill off the bat. Provide us with something that's worthy of talking about, and we'll talk about it. But you've also heard some leaks from behind the scenes, and guess what? It's going to be the same thing that's going. So the trailer, yeah, set an internal Disney record. It's the biggest launch for an animated series on Disney+. Yeah, gee, I wonder why. Ahead of another Marvel show of What If and any animated Star Wars series. Well, yeah, exactly. Not exactly stiff competition. Public-facing moves come as the studio boss, Kevin Feige, recalibrates the creative direction behind the scenes. Early in February, the company completed reshoots for Agatha Darkhold Diaries. Is it back to being called Darkhold Diaries? Because I thought it was all along. Or Coven of Chaos. Or House of Harkness. It's legitimately had all of those taglines before, but we're going with Darkhold Diaries. Cool. Doesn't sound like a soap opera at all. The WandaVision spin-off, yes, that was based on a goddamn song. A song got D+ streaming show. This just goes to show you, man, they were greenlighting anything at the time. And also be justification as to why Madam Web got greenlit. Different studio. Same problem. The studio also quietly hired Eric Pearson to polish the script for the Fantastic Four, which will shoot this summer in London. Pearson is a company stalwart who worked on Thor Ragnarok, okay, and Black Widow. Well, there you go. There's another sign of Disney really turning things around, going back and rehiring the people that helped them with the fall of their company. Stakes are for that movie are high, as the studio is searching for characters and actors who can carry its universe forward after the exits of Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans 5 goddamn years ago. And by the time that we see Fantastic Four, 6 full years ago. You had an entire phase. You had every opportunity there. Hell, you still had a couple of the original Avengers, and you couldn't elevate them to the position? That's damning that the Hollywood Reporter would be the one to go ahead and make those claims, okay? It's one thing for just simple commentators, little article readers that are out there to point out the fact that, yeah, they haven't found adequate replacements for Iron Man or Cap, even though they've recast Iron Man as a black female Wonderkin, sorry. And Captain America, well, now you got Black Captain America, Falcon Man, and his superpower of telling senators that they've got to do better. Big shock why it hasn't worked, but he's going to get his own movie, and I'm sure it's going to make dozens of dollars. Marvel also hired Joanna Callow. Oh, wow, they put another chick in it. The showrunner for the acclaimed FX series, The Bear. Never heard of it. To work on the script for The Thunderbolts. And the Hollywood Reporter has learned, and the film will begin shooting in March in Atlanta. Her hiring adds a flare of prestige to the project, which stars Florence Pugh. Yeah, somebody who's shown a real propensity to carry big studio projects like, well, yeah, okay. Marvel is also cleaning up its creative mess left in the wake of the Jonathan Majors. Yes, because we've got word that finally, yes, the first new Avengers movie due out in 2026 was initially titled Avengers: The Kang Dynasty, but will be getting a new title to remove the character's name. So yeah, begins speculation. It's going to be interesting to see if they're going to use Fantastic Four, which they should have done to begin with, to set up the big overarching villain, and if they are in fact going to go in the realm of Doctor Doom, because they've talked about that. So yeah, if you're going to do that, okay, cool, that's going to get some eyeballs out there, because again, you're just simply jangling keys. If he's going to be written like Kang was, who gives a shit? Okay, I hear Doctor Doom, I get a little bit excited because, yeah, Doom's a sweet character. There's a lot of different ways that you can go. But then you realize that, oh, this is the MCU. He's just going to be incompetent. Why would I get excited about incompetent villain number 683 in the MCU? It makes no sense at all whatsoever. On the TV side, Marvel has been reorganizing its operations. Yeah. Okay, just paring down, saying that we need to have a focus. Focus is internal this year. Okay, we don't need to continue to just turn on the sludge pipe and let everything go. So, okay, cool. They analyzed one of the mistakes that they were making. They didn't have showrunners for their projects. It kind of seems like a problem that they could have got ahead of, but no. Kevin Feige, he knows everything, he sees everything, he's in control of everything until, his ego gets in the way, and, well, Bob Iger has to come out and say, well, the reason that the Marvels failed was because the incompetent directors that we had didn't have enough supervision. He didn't add that. I just had a little editorializing over the top of it, okay, if you forgive me for a second. But okay, cool. You're cleaning up the creative side of this stuff. What about the studio side of stuff? Oh, that's right. you guys still have a general hatred for the public, so why should we give you any benefit of the doubt? Disney executive blames the woes on racist, sexist fans. Big shock on that one. Bulwark Culture editor Sonny Bunch shared a snippet from a recent Puck newsletter suggesting that Team Disney isn't about to change its ways. Teaser comes after Matt Maloney of Puck News fame, who spoke with an unnamed Disney executive on the company's woes, said executives blame the consumers, not the company, for its product. Audiences are too sexist, racist to embrace Disney's product. Unbelievable how we can be so deep into this stuff and seeing all of their ideologies and not be popular with the public. But no. Instead of realizing that the 95% of people out there, maybe they're of the right mind about this. You're in the entertainment business. You're not in the proselytizing business. Maybe you're not the strong, empowered person to just simply stand up and say what needs to be said. Be the bold voice in the room. Maybe you're just wrong. But no. This is their thought process. And this is why Disney, regardless of the new properties, regardless of the keys that they're going to jangle in front of your face, are never going to learn a lesson until we get a full twittering of the place. What do I mean by that? Somebody comes in and completely cleans house, just yeets 85% of the current employees, because this rot runs deep. Light feedback this holiday weekend, but I want to share a DM from a Disney executive in response to Thursday's column on whether the politicization of the Disney brand impacts the box office.
Everyone says that it's the movie stupid, which is the easiest thing for people to say. More appealing movies are a great way to jump political issues.
Really, that's the first and foremost thing that you want to go ahead and put out there. Okay,
we got to use our medium in order to push our message. Why does nobody want to watch our movies?
Oh, because nobody likes your message.
But more and more, our audience, or a segment of the audience, which has been politicized.
They've been politicized, huh?
Equate the perceived messaging in the film as a quality issue. I won't say that they find female empowerment distasteful in the Marvels or Star Wars, the latest trilogy starring Daisy Ridley. Remember when Star Wars had that lofty plan of releasing a movie every year, but then at the conclusion of the sequel trilogy, we haven't seen another movie? We're going on, okay? And that's going to be at least 7 years. 7 years between releases. And quite frankly, if you've listened to reviews of any of the sequel trilogy, Daisy Ridley, outside of her laughable acting where it's just wide eyes and a slightly opened mouth, she's fairly low. Her character flaws, they're pretty high, but Daisy Ridley herself and the fact that she's a woman has very little to do with the complaints that are there. It's just simply hearkening back to the shitty grade school level fan fiction writing. That's the problem, man. But they will say they don't like these movies because they're bad.
Yeah, maybe because they're fucking bad.
So make better movies becomes code for,
listen to these idiots, man. All they do is just talk in subversive language, and then they project that out on the population thinking that, oh, well, everybody else, they don't actually mean what they say. What they actually mean by bad movies is that make movies that conform to regressive gender stereotypes or puts men in the front and center of their narratives, which is what you're seeing now and what Bob Iger's pivot is about right now. And it's so funny, Bob Iger's pivot, because I've also got a video coming out very shortly that just goes to show you that, Bob Iger, when he says he wants to take a step back from the culture war, or what he considers to be contentious political issues, things that are above reproach, things that Disney has to talk about because they're clearly not political. It's exactly why Disney harbors these type of people. This is why this Disney executive thinks the way that he does, or she does, it does, they, them does. Who cares? Because when you have that level of contempt for your fan base, for your prospective audience, you're going to go down in flames. And that's why we've seen Disney go from releasing $7 billion films. There were $7 billion films in 2019 to a year where we're looking at it right now. Dune is going to be a pretty good bellwether here in the next few days as to what the shape of the industry is going to be for the rest of the year. Hearing some good things about it, hearing a couple of nitpicks from people that are big source material fans, and a couple of changes that they're making in the hopes that they're going to be getting a third film. But overall, reviews are pretty good on that one. So if that thing doesn't come close to, if it doesn't sniff $1 billion, it's going to be tough, because all of that astroturfed hype and all of those keys to jangle for Deadpool and the Wolverine, I don't know, man. I'm steadfast in my opinion. That thing will make probably $800 million. Would I be surprised if it hits $1 billion? Might raise a bit of an eyebrow as to how short the memory and the disdain that people currently hold for Disney is when they're just having a shiny token put in their face. But if it's a good film, hopefully it succeeds. But when you have opinions like this just lurking behind the scenes, realize that this contempt, it's only going to be covered for a very short period of time. These people have to be purged from the industry before anything gets better. But that's long-term thinking, and Disney, well, they're starting to take steps to reverse course, but are they going to do it? I guess we'll just simply have to wait and see. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.